Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We're going to be talking about some new footage that just dropped the other day. Because on Match, they do like a promo video, and they're going to be doing this TV series for Pennywise the Clown. It's called It, Welcome to Derry. I want to talk about that stuff. But before I get into the new footage, I will be breaking it down, but I also want to talk a lot more about everything I know about this TV series. But just before I do that, I want to do a little recap just so you caught up to speed on everything you guys need to know. So when you do watch this, you're very well prepared. This whole Stephen King universe. If I can just borrow you guys time for 20 seconds, this is not a sponsor. This is about children that need our help. These are children that have cancer, leukemia, all the bad stuff, and it's kill. I'm from Iowa. We have a children's hospital, and you watch any of the Iowa football games during the first quarter, we do the Iowa wave to the children in the hospital. They deserve all the stuff, and I just want to say, guys, in the description box below, I have a link for description where you can donate, and that's all I want to say, guys, because I absolutely love Iowa, and I love what they're doing with the Iowa children. So please, if you have money and you want to donate, go to the description box, give it to them. Do not give it to me. Before I want to talk about this, I'll get into the timeline, but just to let you guys know, this is going to be a prequel to the Chapter 1 and 2 remake that came out in 2017 and 2019. The miniseries, the one we all know with Tim Curry that came out in 1990, that was a two-part that was directed by Tommy Lee Wallace. Yes, the Tommy Lee Wallace, that was a DP for the original Halloween, and he also directed Halloween 3. But yeah, Tommy Lee Wallace directed the 1990 miniseries. Absolutely loved it. We all know that stuff, but that has nothing to do with this TV series, this prequel series on Match. So, again, Chapter 1 and 2, the remake, this is going to be canon with those two movies. If you remember correctly, in Chapter 1, that starts off in October of 1988. That's when the little boy gets killed. And then we go ahead 8 months later when we see the main movie, the 90% of the movie, and that takes place summer of 1989. So that's the summer of 89, and we all know It, the crazy motherfucker, he kills every 27 years. So a prequel for this is going to be taking place in the 60s. And if you remember that one scene in the Chapter 1 where the boys, they go jumping with the girl, and then afterwards he kind of, Ben gives a little history lesson, and in that book talks about the 1962 The Black Spot, and that is going to be the main focus for this prequel TV series.
What's the Black Spot?
The Black Spot was a nightclub that was burned down years ago by that racist cult.
What?
As you can tell, the title has changed because it was called just Welcome to Derry, but now they actually added the It part to it. So now it's called It, Welcome to Derry, which I'm cool with that. It doesn't really make a difference, but I do have one big question. We all know Mike Hanlon, in the very first chapter, when he was a little boy, we all find out that his parents died in a fire. And my question is the 60s prequel story going to have a connection with Mike Hanlon's family? And I want to dig more into that right now, because the more I dug into it, the more I realized his parents actually died in 76 to 77. So I don't think his parents have anything to do with the Black Spot that we're going to see. I had to look up on like the fandom, Wikipedia, whatever you want to call it, but that gave me all the information you need to know about that. So I don't see a connection with the Hanlon family, but knowing this story and looking at IMDb, like all the casting, most of the people are Black Native Americans. So this is going to be the center point of the story. And if you watch the new footage, I'm even going to show you the old footage, because 7 months ago, Match did the same thing for 2024. They're like, this is what you're going to see. That was the very first footage we ever saw. And I'm going to show you guys again all of that. I'm going to break that down too. So I'm going to show you two different footages and break it down. And I noticed in this new footage we saw that there's a connection to Chapter 1. I can't wait to show you guys. It's really cool. So what do we know about this TV series so far? Well, we know it's going to be the origins of Pennywise the Clown, and it's going to be leading up to Chapter 1. And you're thinking, what do you mean the origins of Pennywise? Because hasn't he been around for millions of years? He has been around for millions of years, but he does different characters. And his favorite one is Pennywise the Clown. And you're wondering, why does he go out to kids? Because Pennywise, he said, human tastes better. The flesh tastes better when there's fear. So the more fear, the tastier they are. Kind of like a Jeepers Creepers thing. But with children, you can scare them a lot more easier. So of course, you scare kids for a couple of weeks, they're gonna be terrified. You want to eat them. That's his reason behind all that. So we're gonna see the origins of the whole Pennywise And speaking of that, the question was, is Bill Skarsgård going to be coming back to play Pennywise? Because he was in Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, the remake. At first, he was not. But a couple months ago, it was announced he is coming back. So Pennywise, Bill Skarsgård, he will be back. So that is huge. And speaking of that also, Andy Muschietti, he directed Chapter 1 and 2, and his sister Barbara was the executive producer for both those movies. They do like a duo together. They're both going to be coming back, and Andy's going to direct some episodes. Usually when a director, he would do like the first episode, and then someone else would do the next few episodes. But him and his sister are going to be back. They're going to be directing some episodes, and they're going to be executive producer this whole entire thing. So knowing they're coming back, I love it. And they're filming in Canada where they filmed Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. So bring that all back, and I absolutely love it. So going over the cast, I look at IMDb. They are showing the people that are going to be in it, but they're not showing anyone's character's name. And I'm wondering why. There has to be a connection. I still want to go back to Mike Hanlon. I really think there's going to be some kind of connection. Because in the first scene, when we first see him, is his grandfather. You know, the whole when he's not killing the sheep, that whole speech. I have a feeling his grandfather, Leroy, is going to make an appearance in the 60s. I really, really do think so. And also looking at this casting, it's going to be definitely dealing with Native Americans, because there's 3 people on here that, oh, look, I looked them up. I didn't just look at them and assume they were Native Americans. I clicked on all 3 of the people and made sure in their bio they were part of Native Americans, and sure enough, we're having 3 Native Americans. And there's also 7 characters that are Black African American. And of course, you have white people, and I counted 7. So 3 Native Americans, 7 Black African Americans, and 7 whites, at least for the main cast. So it's very well balanced, but the main focus is definitely going to be on the Black community of the 60s.
No, they gave it to me. I stole it.
From Native Americans?
It's complicated.
Yeah, it is.
I'm guessing with this whole Native American thing, it's going to be a flashback. I really do. Or it could be something with... I'm not... Because the reason why I would think of the flashback is in Chapter 2, when Mike was trying to explain, you know, how he got here, he found that out through the Native Americans. So there might be something along that line of a flashback, maybe the timeline, or it could be the Native Americans in the 60s giving a story, a little backstory, which I absolutely love when they go that route. Kind of like the whole Pet Cemetery story. The Native Americans, they give that backstory, and I love it. So the first thing I want to show you before I show you the new footage is the footage they showed about 7 months ago, and it's the only thing we've seen up to this day, and it's still like a little tiny clipping. So I'm going to play it, and I'm going to play it, and then we'll go picture by picture with you guys. So let's start with the little footage. Don't drop the soap.
This ain't America. This is Derry.
See what I'm saying? How quick that was? That was pretty quick, guys. So I'm going to do that one more time. Then I will break it down photo by photo. So let's start again.
This ain't America. This is Derry.
All right. So that was the first footage. So the next one I want to show you is the one that just literally came out yesterday. Okay, so the next footage I want you guys to realize in the very first part of this new footage is something I want to come back to and talk to, because that's a connection that I first thought of Chapter 1. But let's do this second footage together. Don't drop the soap.
This ain't America. This is Derry.
Again, that was like, what, 7 seconds? Which showed enough. I'm super stoked. I can't wait for a trailer, but let's watch this one more time.
This ain't America. This is Derry.
All right, so that was the footage, and now I want to show you guys what I saw. Okay, so we have this first picture of the kids walking by the bridge. And if you show the Chapter 1, this was in the trailer. You guys see the connection there? They are literally in the same exact spot as those kids were in Chapter 1. The more you look, the more so. Of course, the first thing I thought of, like, oh, they're going to the sewer. Then I realized, no, that was the 1990 miniseries. That has nothing to do with Chapter 1, because in Chapter 1, this is where they went away just to, like, cut themselves. Because remember in Chapter 1, Chapter 2, the sewer was below the house. It wasn't out like it was in the 1990 miniseries. But the fact that these kids are going back to where these kids were in the Chapter 1, I'm not sure why. I don't know if they're going to do another blood oath, but I thought that was a nice little nod. But let's break down this footage picture by picture. Let's see here. All right. So the next one is this character right here. This actor, if I remember correctly. All right, so this picture right here, we did see him in the first footage, and not sure why he's in the tunnel looking for something. Because in the first footage, you see this image. You see him there, and he's looking at the person. I'm assuming must be his wife, his daughter, his mother, but that is the woman that's probably being played by Pennywise. And Pennywise is playing with him because you can tell by he has his, hands over his ears. He's terrified. And then after this, he goes looking for her in the sewer, and I'm assuming that is exactly what's happening here. And this guy, I cannot pronounce his first or last name. I don't even want to try to butcher it, but he was the guy who played Corey on Fences, the one with Denzel Washington and Viola Davis. Very, very good actor, so I'm super stoked about that. Next, we see a little image of Welcome to Derry, birthplace of Paul Bunyan. And of course, in chapter 2, they had it was chapter 2 with the Paul Bunyan character came alive, so that was a nice little nod. We have this character with blood all over her face, no idea what's going on, but the fact she is terrified, so super cool with that. This next one, you have 3 kids, and I don't know if they're in the movie theater, but they definitely look like they're getting scared by Pennywise. Like, they're not watching a horror movie, they're definitely being scared. I don't know if this is gonna be like something like with the kids in chapter 1, we're watching it in the garage. Might be like that. Next, we got another scene where this reminds me of, when, in the first chapter 1 when she's in the bathroom and all that blood comes up. I think this is going to be something along those lines again with the bathroom. Okay, this was very interesting. So, of course, you see this creepy person on here. The first thing I thought of was in chapter 1 was this. Was it Betty Davis? Yeah. Betty Ripson. I thought Betty Ripson might have died or went missing from the chapter 1 timeline. But man, I cannot help but look at the resemblance of this picture and that person right here. Like, is there a connection between these two? I don't know. I really don't know if that's Betty Ripson, but man, it's pretty close looking if you look at it, guys. All right, next, let's see what else we got here. And the last one you see, okay, so we're gonna start looking at pictures from that first footage I showed you. Again, it shows not a kid. This is definitely an adult seeing the red balloon. So I'm assuming this adult must have been attacked as a kid and he's grown up because he didn't forget about it. Because remember, Pennywise doesn't really go after adults unless they've been traumatized as a kid. Sometimes he has went after adults, but it's very rare that he does that. So we see the kids again riding their bikes just around town, just like it did in chapter 1. Here's a closer look at the main group, essentially doing the same thing from chapter 1, kids on bikes. But definitely I don't know if it's a foreshadow, but you see the 2 African Americans up front. That's definitely, I think that's telling you like, hey, this is going to be the main focus of the movie. We're taking, driver's seat. There's going to be a lot of focus on that. And I love that they're doing that. Here's another close image of the boy. I don't know if this is going to be a flashback or if this is like, say, like a kid reliving his PTSD trauma from a kid's. I don't know if this is him doing that or this is part of the TV series, but the next one you show is a hand coming up, and that hand, man, it looks like it's been burnt. I think that's what they're trying to say, like this body was burnt. So this is the cast I saw so far. So Taylor Page, she was on the brand new Beverly Hills, not Ninja, the Beverly Hills Cop, Axel, the one on Netflix. She was in there. She was really great. And James Remare, he's on so many freaking movies. He was supposed to be in Aliens, but he got kicked out. But, on Pineapple Express in the beginning, he's like, illegal. That's him. But this is interesting. Madeline Stowe. So I love her from The Last of the Mohicans, man. Mwah. Absolutely beautiful. Peter Outerbridge. He's been in quite a few movies too, but the rest of them are slowly, mostly unknowns. But the fact that they got 6 solid actors where they're very good, very great actors. They're veterans, so it's not all unknowns. They're giving a mix of veterans and a new young blood. But the fact that they're showing absolutely no names, besides Pennywise is the only name on here. So I'm assuming if we know the name of some of these people, it's going to show the connection, and that might be like a little spoiler. So I'm cool that they're not really showing it. This is the bottom part of the cast, and again, it's just really unknowns. Haven't really, but it's fine. You know, you gotta have some unknowns. But yeah, that is the footage so far we've seen of it. Welcome to Derry, and are we gonna get a teaser soon? Man, we gotta see something soon. I don't know when in 2025, but I'm assuming hopefully between now and Halloween we're gonna see a teaser. I'm super excited. I absolutely love Pennywise. It's my favorite of all Stephen King's adaptations. Christina's right up there also, but nothing takes, man, it, because it was my very first movie when I watched when I was 5 years old. I love my VHS tapes. This is the British one, and I got all these up there, but absolutely love it. So, but yeah, those are the footage and images for it. Welcome to Derry.